Alright, so in Kingdom Hearts, nobodies are told that they don't have hearts. And they're described as like empty shells, beings that only exist because something else once did. And but there's a contradiction through the epilogue where you see that a nobody can feel, can suffer, they can desire, and they can form friendships, form bonds with people. So what does like no heart actually mean? And I guess having no heart would mean or I guess having a heart, let's say, would represent emotion, connection, your moral compass, how you are as a person. But nobody's clearly display emotion. For example, Roxas feels loneliness, and then Axel feels loyalty. So maybe the game is teaching you actually kind of a philosophy here where they're saying maybe a heart isn't something you're born with, maybe it's something that you have to build. And this is where kind of existentialism comes in, because Roxas questions himself. He goes, if I wasn't meant to exist, am I still real? But Roxas wasn't supposed to exist. He's a byproduct. He's a remainder. He's a remainder of Sora. And like in the real world terms, that could mirror, somebody who doesn't feel like they belong, or um maybe somebody not fitting the role that they were assigned. And sometimes people are just like, what if I'm just filling up space, you know? But existence comes before essence. I mean, you aren't defined by why you were created. You're defined by what you choose to do with your existence. Roxas chooses friendship. He chooses to question what's really going on in my world. He chooses to feel, and that's what made him real. In the real world parallel, you know, like, are we nobodies? Like, without a heart, are we all really nobodies or heartless? You know what I mean? And you gotta unpack it carefully and think that, okay, maybe because here, for example, in Kingdom Hearts, heartless are consumed by darkness, so like pure impulse, no connection. And nobodies are empty, disconnected, emotionally suppressed beings. In a real world, we don't literally lose our hearts, but we can become emotionally numb and detached from others and overstimulated and underconnected, you know, perform life instead of live it. When somebody suppresses emotion long enough, when connection is replaced with performance, and when vulnerability feels unsafe, they can like you could feel like a nobody. And not because you lack heart, but it's because you just dig it deeper inside of you. The modern world and emotional detachment nowadays, especially, we text instead of touch, we scroll instead of sit and breathe the fresh air, we curate instead of confess, we perform instead of feel. That doesn't mean we're heartless. I mean, it might mean we're overstimulated, we're guarded, we're afraid. But nobody's were told that they don't have hearts. But the story slowly does reveal something powerful later on in the end. It's that hearts actually grow through connection. This can tie back to loving touch, because maybe the issue isn't that people don't have hearts. Maybe they just don't feel safe enough to use them. I mean, are we really nobodies? If you can feel pain, desire connection, question your own existence, and long for meaning, you are not empty. The very act of questioning whether you had a heart or not proves that you do. And I find that Roxas's tragedy wasn't that he had no heart. It was just that he was told that he didn't. And the belief shaped how he saw himself. Like, it's the same in real life. When people are told that, you're too much, you're not enough, you don't matter, they start to live like nobodies. But identity isn't assigned. It's chosen and built through connection. And the answer is that we're not heartless and we're not nobodies. We're beings capable of disconnection, but also capable of rebuilding connection. A heart isn't just something you're born with, but it's something you strengthen every time you choose vulnerability and offer real presence. And you got to give loving touch instead of ego distance. It looks like my summer vacation is over.